Hey, I'm Adil, and welcome to the channel. Now, you know me, I see a lot of stuff come through my doors. Everything from vintage guitars to historical artifacts. But there's one thing that always gets my attention: rare coins. These aren't just pieces of metal you find in your pocket change. We're talking about tiny, intricate pieces of history that can be worth more than a house. It's a fascinating world. A world where a single coin can tell a story that spans centuries. A story of empires rising and falling, of legendary artists, and of incredible rarity. It's a world where passion meets investment, and the thrill of the hunt is everything. So, what makes a coin worth millions? It's a combination of things. You've got rarity, how many were made, and more importantly, how many are left. You've got history, who made it, when, and why. And of course, you've got the sheer value of the story behind it. These coins are prized possessions for collectors around the globe, not just because they're made of gold or silver, but because they represent a tangible link to our past. They're artifacts you can hold in your hand, a direct connection to a different time. Today, we're going to take a look at some of the heavy hitters, the absolute titans of the numismatic world. These are the coins that collectors dream about, the ones that break auction records and make headlines. We're going to dive into their stories, find out what makes them so special, and why they command such astronomical prices. You never know what's going to come through that door, and today, it's some of the rarest coins on Earth. So stick around, this is going to be good. First up, we've got a real legend, the 1933 Saint-Gaudens Double Eagle. This thing is the Mona Lisa of coins. It was designed by Augustus Saint-Gaudens, a famous sculptor, at the request of President Teddy Roosevelt. It's considered by many to be the most beautiful coin ever minted in the United States. It's almost a full ounce of pure gold, a stunning piece of art. But here's the kicker. Back in '33, FDR took the United States off the gold standard to combat the Great Depression. He ordered all these newly minted double eagles to be melted down before they ever entered circulation. They were never supposed to exist. But, you know how it goes. A few of them slipped out the back door of the mint. For decades, owning one was illegal, and the Secret Service actually hunted them down. Only one was ever declared legal to own privately, after a long court battle. That single coin went to auction and sold for a staggering $18.9 million. Think about that. A coin that was never meant to be, a piece of government property that escaped the furnace, becomes one of the most valuable objects in the world. You can't write a better story than that. It's got everything: beauty, gold, a presidential order, a little bit of mystery, and a massive price tag. Now let's go back to the very beginning of the United States. We're talking 1794, just a few years after the Constitution was signed. The young nation needed its own currency, a symbol of its independence. And so the United States Mint produced its very first silver dollar, the flowing hair silver dollar. This isn't just an old coin, it's the first dollar. The design, with Lady Liberty and her wild flowing hair, was meant to represent freedom. It was a powerful statement for a new country trying to find its place in the world. The thing is, the minting process back then was pretty primitive. The press wasn't great, and they only managed to strike about 1,758 of these that were suitable for circulation. How many survive today? Experts estimate only about 130. And to find one in pristine condition is nearly impossible. One of the finest known examples, believed by many to be the very first one ever struck, sold for over $10 million. When you hold a coin like this, you're holding the start of the American economy. It was touched by the founding generation. It's pure, tangible American history, and that's something you just can't put a price on, unless you're at an auction, of course. All right, we're leaving America and heading back to the Middle Ages. The year is 1343. King Edward III is on the throne of England, and he decides to introduce a new gold coin to facilitate trade with Europe. The result was the florin, also known as the double leopard. This was a big, beautiful gold coin featuring the king enthroned, with two leopard heads on either side. It was a bold statement of English power and wealth, intended to be the new standard in international commerce. It was worth about 6 shillings at the time. There was just one problem. Its value was miscalculated. The amount of gold in the coin was worth less than its declared face value, so merchants wouldn't accept it. The whole thing was a massive failure. After just a few months, the king ordered them all recalled and melted down to be recoined into a new denomination. The project was a complete bust. and the double leopard disappeared from history almost as quickly as it appeared. Because of that, they are incredibly rare. How rare? Today, only 3 are known to exist. 3 in the entire world. That's why when one surfaced and sold, it fetched a price worthy of a king's ransom. Chapter 4. The Goldsmith's Mark. So, before the US Mint was officially up and running, coining money in America was, well, a bit of a free-for-all. States and private individuals were making their own currency. One of the most famous of these early pioneers was a man named Ephraim Brasher. He was a talented goldsmith and silversmith in New York City, and he happened to live right next door to George Washington. Brasher made a petition to mint copper coins for the state of New York, but it was rejected. So what did he do? He went ahead and minted his own coins anyway, mostly out of gold. The result was the 1787 Brasher doubloon. What makes this coin so unique is Brasher's personal touch. He was a respected assayer, someone who verifies the purity of precious metals. To prove the quality of his coins, he counterstamped them with his own initials, EB. The most famous version has this stamp right on the eagle's breast. It was his personal guarantee. This coin is a masterpiece of pre-Federal American craftsmanship, a relic from a time before standardized currency. It's the story of an artisan, an entrepreneur, and a patriot, all captured in a single piece of gold. Sometimes value comes from a complete mystery. Take the 1894 S. Barber dime. On the surface, it's just a dime, nothing fancy. But its story is, honestly, one of the biggest puzzles in coin collecting. The official records from the San Francisco Mint show that only 24 of these dimes were struck. 24. That's not a typo. Why so few? Nobody knows for sure. The best guess is that they were minted to round out a bullion account that was off by $2.40. It was just an accounting fix. The story gets even better. The mint superintendent at the time, John Daggett, supposedly gave 3 of the dimes to his young daughter, Hallie. He told her to save them, but she was a kid. She apparently spent one of them on a dish of ice cream. Can you imagine? Spending a multi-million-dollar coin on ice cream. Today, only 9 of these dimes are known to still exist, and their whereabouts are closely tracked by the collecting community. Finding one is the holy grail for a dime collector. It's a perfect example of how a small, seemingly insignificant coin can become a legend because of its extreme rarity and the fantastic story that goes with it. Here's another coin that technically shouldn't exist, the 1913 Liberty Head nickel. In 1912, the U.S. Mint was getting ready to phase out the Liberty Head design and introduce the new Buffalo nickel. Production of the Liberty Head officially stopped. The new dies were prepared and everyone moved on. Except someone at the Mint didn't. In 1913, with the Buffalo nickel now in full production, 5 unauthorized Liberty Head nickels were secretly struck. Who did it? Why? The evidence points to a Mint employee named Samuel Brown, who later became a coin dealer. For years, nobody even knew these coins existed. Then in 1920, Brown ran an ad in a numismatic magazine, offering to buy any 1913 Liberty Head nickels he could find, knowing full well he already had all of them. It was a brilliant marketing stunt to create hype and legitimacy for his illicitly made coins. The story of these 5 nickels involves intrigue, a car crash that led to one being lost for decades, and a family that inherited one without knowing its value for years. Each of the 5 King of Nickels is worth millions today, all because someone decided to break the rules and create a ready-made rarity. Not all valuable coins are centuries old. Let's fast forward to 2007 and talk about a modern marvel, the Canadian gold maple leaf. Now, the regular 1-ounce maple leaf is a very popular bullion coin, but in 2007, the Royal Canadian Mint decided to do something completely over the top. They created a coin weighing 100 kilograms, that's 220 pounds, of 0.99999 pure gold. It was a massive publicity stunt to promote their new line of 99.999% pure gold bullion coins. It was the biggest, purest gold coin in the world at the time. They only made a handful of these behemoths. Each one has a face value of 1 million Canadian dollars, but the value of the gold alone is many times that amount. One of them, nicknamed the Big Maple Leaf, was on display in a German museum. In 2017, thieves broke in, somehow managed to haul this 220-pound disc of gold out of the museum, and it's never been seen since. It was most likely cut up and melted down. The story of its theft just adds to the mystique of these giant coins. It proves that even in the 21st century, you can create a collectible that's legendary for its audacity, its purity, and its sheer unbelievable size. So there you have it. From a dime spent on ice cream to a 220-pound gold giant, the stories behind these coins are as valuable as the metal they're struck from. What really makes them worth millions is that perfect storm of factors. You've got historical importance, like the first US dollar. You have extreme rarity, like a coin that was ordered to be destroyed but survived. You need pristine condition, the metal content itself, and of course, the raw demand from collectors who want to own a piece of that story. It's the combination of all these things that takes a coin from pocket change to a world-class treasure. But at the end of the day, it's about more than just the money. Owning one of these coins is about being a custodian of history. You're preserving a story, an artifact that has passed through hands and witnessed events we can only read about in books. These coins are cultural treasures, tangible links to our collective past. They're a reminder that even the smallest objects can carry the biggest legacies. They are incredible investments, there's no doubt about that. But their true value lies in the history you can hold in your hand. Thanks for joining me on this journey through the world of rare coins. It just goes to show you that there's history and value all around us, sometimes in the most unexpected places. You never know what might be hiding in an old drawer or a forgotten collection. Keep your eyes open. And remember, if you've got something old and interesting, you know where to find me. We'll see you next time.